Life can be viewed as an alternate reality game. Much of what we do, think, and say is manipulated by influences outside of ourselves. What we learn, how we interpret what we learn, experiences we encounter beyond our control. If you've ever come across content on the web or seen a flyer on your car and wondered to yourself, is this for real? You may have stumbled into an ARG, and you may be the star player. UTD students spent a semester creating alternate reality games, informally known as ARGs, and they allowed me and 2 others of my classmates to document the making of it. This is a huge rule breaker in ARGs, as the player never encounters the puppet master, nor does the player even know for sure if the puppet master exists. I was allowed to film a group of students through the planning process, new developments as they occurred, and I was afforded one-on-one interviews with some of the group members.
What are the odds of someone who wants to play an ARG signing up for your store?
You would be surprised. Yeah. We've been drawing on a lot of the, what makes Dallas special? What do we specialize in?
Very good.
A large portion of the story is going to be about ARG heists, and one of the mechanics that we'd like to bring in, that we were talking about bringing in, is actually being able, by solving the puzzles, the player choose who's not the good guy, but who prevails.
Mm-hmm. So it's a neat idea. Make it grow.
Professor Adam Bracken and his art class were interviewed by a journalist out of Southern California who also wanted the inside scoop on alternate reality games.
Hey, everybody say hi.
Hi.
I was calling your professor, and I guess now you guys too, to sort of hear what you think about whether or not these alternate reality games or these transmedia experiences are expanding in popularity as a medium, where they're going to go in the future, that sort of thing.
We're seeing a lot of the same puzzles and types of storytelling showing up and again, and we're really, I think it's in a process of developing a vocabulary, and it's definitely developing acceptance. So.
Bobby, you need to identify yourself too.
Oh yes, I'm Bobby Fry, and I'm a game design student in the ATEC program.
And he is also a cloud maker.
Oh yes.
No way.
Yeah.
Bobby is one of the original cloud makers. Now, the original ARG was the Beast, and the original players of the Beast, there are only a few thousand.
Can you guys elaborate on what is involved in designing an experience like this?
The best way to look at it is through the 4 elements of alternate reality games. Interactive storytelling, and emergent properties, real-world elements,
right,
and the self-organizing nature of the social network, in this case the player network. That if you had those 4 things, then you had an alternate reality game.
There's a bit of learning curve. A few of us kind of knew how ARGs worked. A lot of us knew how stories worked, and we didn't know how content was delivered. And once we were able to get that kind of melded together, we start having flows and plans.
Yeah, I feel like you guys are more on in a genuine direction this tonight.
It definitely feels more
a little
directed.
less train wreck and a little more chugga.
But we spent a lot of time, especially with sort of the 3 main characters that the game's going to be revolving around. Even if we don't reveal the entire backstory, we have the ability to go back and make the interactions between the characters feel more natural, and make the characters' interactions with the players feel more natural.
Facebook people lean more toward you actually have to know them in real life first. So what I did was I went through and picked popular children's, kids bands, preteen bands, Jonas Brothers, stuff like that. And then I would request people who were fans of those. And then once they accepted my request, I would request their friends' friendship so that we had mutual friends.
So but people who you'd never talked to were like, yeah, I'll be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the payoff, though, is getting to see that immediate reaction of actually watching people engage with what you're writing.
So it's pretty awesome about this fake character. I haven't touched this thing since the first week of class. And then I just got one random friend request from somebody I'd never heard of.
Awesome.
He's also trying to make an ARG, you see. Do you know there are tunnels under Dallas that are being used?
We're about to go head to the tunnels because Dallas has a huge tunnel network, and we're going to go geocache our physical address of our bookstore, supposedly, can also go hide some stuff there. Let's go.
Without the social network, there is no game. You've got to have the people, the social network, craving more, pulling more at you, or the tug of war won't work.
Some people might just breeze right over it. Some people might start reading into the themes that we're establishing.
Because we definitely have some really good themes. Like Sunshine Books for Less, the sunrise and sunset is kind of symbolism for the emotional state of the artist. But it also like kind of plays in, a lot of our things are done in secret and in shadow. I wanted to say, I really like that there's so much enthusiasm for ARGs in this school, because this is Dallas, the home of paranoia. I kind of regret taking this class, though, because I thought it was going to be my easy one. I have made an error. Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
So what distinguishes ARGs from video games? Video games are game-driven. The player is given instructions on how to play and notifications when you've reached the next level. ARGs, on the other hand, are player-driven and are completely interactive. The player sets the rules, the tone, and the game evolves based on the player's next move. But most of all, the ARG should always leave the player questioning, is this real?
There are so many different questions that are still being answered. To add an extra level of complexity to that, one of the things we're trying to do this semester is document it. So we actually have a fourth team here that is documenting just about everything we say and do.
Okay, just a second before we continue, I have to ask, is that fourth team in the room recording right now?
Yes.
So are they recording a journalist asking how these games are made so they can later show people how these games are made?
Yes.
Divide by 0.
And I think you just got the best soundbite right there. Emergent properties are all about open systems. And anytime you have humans, you have an arguably infinite number of possible responses. For example, you might have a very critical moment in your story. You're relying on a major player to interact with this major character in such a way that drives the story forward, and instead that person starts doing things that are very, very unexpected, perhaps even out of character, perhaps even inappropriate, perhaps even exposing to your story and to your very game. And what you discover is that the human factor can be the best and worst thing that can happen to your game.